Why are you still awake right now? Is it because of something someone said today? A text that got a shorter reply than usual? A conversation that felt totally fine in the moment, but now, lying here in the dark, something about it just won't let you go? Or maybe nothing even happened. Maybe today was completely ordinary, and your brain is still going anyway. Still replaying, still picking things apart, still quietly asking, wait. But what did they actually mean by that? You already know you're overthinking. That's the part that makes it so exhausting. It's not that you can't see it happening. You see it perfectly in real time with full awareness. You just can't make it stop. It's like watching yourself drive off a cliff in slow motion, completely unable to touch the wheel. Here's what's true though. People who can't turn their brain off tend to read people better, feel things deeper, and catch what everyone else completely misses. But does that feel like a gift right now? At midnight? Exhausted? Still running mental simulations of a conversation that ended hours ago? That's the question nobody actually asks. Not whether you're too sensitive, not whether you think too much, but why the same mind that understands everyone around you so well can't seem to give you a single moment of quiet. That's what we're going to get into today. It is midnight. Nothing is wrong. No deadline, no crisis, no message you forgot to answer. But your brain is running a full conversation you had 3 days ago. A comment someone made, a pause that felt strange, a moment where you said something and immediately wondered how it landed. You replay it. Each pass produces the same result. No conclusion, no resolution, slightly less sleep. Think of it like a smoke detector calibrated so precisely that it goes off when you make toast. Not because the kitchen is on fire. Because the sensor cannot distinguish between real danger and ordinary heat. The alarm is genuine. The system is working exactly as designed. It is just set to the wrong threshold. Psychologist Susan Nolen-Hoeksema, who spent years studying this specific pattern, called it maladaptive rumination, a mental loop where the brain keeps processing a problem it cannot actually solve, usually involving uncertainty, social judgment, or something that has already happened and cannot be changed. The brain treats these open questions like unfinished tasks. It keeps returning, not because a solution is approaching, because it has not received the signal that it is safe to stop. Not a broken brain, a brain waiting for an all clear that never comes. Think about the person who notices things before anyone says them out loud. In a meeting, they register a shift in someone's posture before the tension is named. On a first date, they catch a sentence that did not quite match the body language. In a group chat, they sense something is off 3 messages before anyone calls it out. These are real observations, real skill, not paranoia. The brain system behind this, what neuroscientists call the default mode network, or DMN, handles internal simulation. It activates when the mind wanders, runs hypotheticals, or processes social information. In people who identify as overthinkers, research suggests this network stays highly active even during rest. Most people's DMN quiets when it is not needed. In overthinkers, it stays loud. This is where the misunderstanding happens. An overactive mind is assumed to signal malfunction, but the same machinery that keeps the DMN running too long is often behind genuine perceptiveness, creative depth, and an unusually accurate read of other people. The overthinker's brain is not broken. It is a high-load processing system without a reliable off switch. That sounds simple, but psychologically it matters enormously. Picture 2 people in bed at midnight. Both are quiet. Neither has picked up their phone. From the outside, identical. But they are not doing the same thing. The first is working through something real. They are asking, why did that conversation go the way it did? What did I actually want from it? What would I say differently? It is uncomfortable, but it is moving somewhere. Nolen-Hoeksema identified this as reflective rumination, self-examination that generates insight, a clearer understanding of your emotional state, or a genuine shift in perspective. Uncomfortable, but generative. The second person is stuck. They are asking, why does this always happen to me? And asking again and again, without arriving anywhere new. That is brooding rumination, circular, repetitive. It produces insomnia, social anxiety, and the exhausting sensation of having thought hard for 3 hours and ended up in exactly the same place. Most overthinkers move between both modes without noticing the shift. They begin reflecting, slide into brooding, and cannot understand why thinking things through made them feel worse. The thinking was real. The progress was an illusion. That distinction is the one most people skip entirely. You have told yourself to stop thinking about something. You probably remember how well that went. Here is the mechanism. The brain is chemically rewarding itself for the act of processing. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter behind motivation and reward, gets released when the brain works on a problem. It does not check whether the problem is real or imagined. Picture someone spending 90 minutes mentally rehearsing a confrontation with their manager that will probably never happen. The brain logs that as 90 minutes of productive problem solving. It does not audit the results. This is what makes overthinking genuinely resistant to willpower. Every time you return to the loop, the brain registers it as useful activity. You are not failing at discipline. You are working against a chemical incentive that runs underneath conscious effort. This is not weakness. It is a system built for problem solving that found a way to keep itself running even when there are no real problems on the table. The issue is not motivation. The issue is calibration, the same word from the beginning, because it is the same problem all the way down. 3 different people describe themselves identically. I cannot turn my brain off. One grew up somewhere unpredictable. A parent's mood that shifted without warning. Tension no one ever named. That child's brain learned that scanning ahead was the safest move. Anticipate the next change. Stay one step ahead of whatever was coming. The environment eventually changed. The brain's assumption did not. Psychologists identify intolerance of uncertainty as a key driver here. The brain keeps running because not knowing still feels like exposure. Another was rewarded for the thoroughness. A teacher who praised detailed thinking, a job that valued people who had already considered every angle. They kept doing more of what worked. The thinking became automatic. A third simply has a brain built for high-order processing. Pattern modeling, hypothetical thinking, systemic analysis. No difficult history. Just a cognitive style that runs fast and was never paired with a deliberate way to slow down. Same surface behavior, meaningfully different psychology. The path forward does not look identical for all 3. Think about the person sitting with a decision for 2 weeks. A job offer. A conversation they keep postponing. They have thought through every angle, every risk, most of the outcomes, but they have not decided anything. This is what behavioral scientists call analysis paralysis. The point where continued processing impairs decision-making rather than improving it. Thinking about a problem feels like working on it, but thinking and deciding are not the same thing. The brain can stay fully occupied while the situation remains completely unchanged. That gap is where the real exhaustion lives. Here is the honest part. The same cognitive depth behind that exhaustion also produces something real. The overthinker catches the flaw in a plan before anyone else does. They anticipate what someone needs in a relationship before it is stated out loud. They do not miss things. When that processing is aimed at the right kind of problem, creative work, relational nuance, complex decisions, it is genuinely valuable. The goal is not to dismantle the capacity. The goal is to recognize when the engine has stopped moving the car. Someone is lying in bed tonight, apartment quiet, phone face down. Nothing is objectively wrong, but their mind is running a simulation of a conversation that has already ended, or rehearsing one that has not started, or holding open a decision that keeps getting deferred without moving. That brain is not weak. It is not a character flaw. It is a high-load processing system, a smoke detector calibrated for a level of danger that may no longer exist, still doing exactly what it was designed to do, in a room that is no longer on fire. Understanding the mechanism does not end the loop immediately, but it creates something the loop cannot easily survive, a small distance between the person and the thought. Not, I am spiraling, but the DMN is running the scenario again. Not, something is wrong with me. This sensor is set too high. That distance, practiced slowly without self-punishment, is where a different relationship with your own thinking begins. You do not need to think less. You need to recognize when thinking has become a substitute for deciding, acting, or letting something stay unresolved. That is a learnable thing, and understanding it this clearly is already a real place to start.